Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to Esports Masters League. We are here tonight for round number 3 of the championship as we take in the Japanese Grand Prix from the Suzuka International Circuit. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking through the stream, of course, as your lead commentator for EML F1. And joining me in the commentary box tonight, it is Mr. Jamie Morris. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, James. What about you, mate?
I'm doing really well. Japan, of course, one of those tracks where there should be a lot of overtaking, a lot of great racing out on track. Excited for the action?
Oh, yes, definitely indeed. Japan's always a great track to race around as well, especially down at the first few corners and the 130Rs. We've seen plenty of overtakes at 130R as well, so I can't wait to see how everything goes.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're wondering why I'm just looking to the left-hand side, we've lost Sasha out of the lobby. So I've got him on my friends list. So I'm going to drop him an invite now. It is double work going on here, quite literally. It says he's joined. We've got that glitch, I think, potentially, with Sasha actually in the lobby, and he's not. So I will wait on that. Driver's already up, by the way, so you might want to change one of the lobby settings just before we get everyone in. We are missing Paul as well for PGS, but what we can do is run you through, of course, what happened last week, and it was Stefano who took the win, of course, in Australia last week. Luca Cart and Flopman with the second and third for OP, landing themselves in the title picture for sure. Stefano, of course, getting that penalty removed. Therefore, he's out on top in terms of the championship for FBR from last week in Australia. What did that do to the championship standings? Well, Paradox Sim Racing, now known as F7R Esports, leading the way on 75 points. That is an outdated graphic with their rebrand. Outplayed Racing in second on 74, and they are only 1 point separating the top two. FBR with Stefano's win, thrown there in third position. A good double result, actually, last week for FBR, finishing in third with 70 points currently on the standings. Team Shazoo in fourth on 53. They've got Renz now in the mix for tonight as well, which we'll come on to in a second. NLR Esports in 5th on 36. They've lost Urpec recently to F7R, so that is an interesting take from the NLR perspective. ET8 in 6th on 34. Then G League in 7th on 30 with their most experienced lineup that we've got. Sasha is back in the lobby. We are just waiting on PGS man and Paul to get in. PGS, speaking of which, are in 8th on 21 points in the standings with X Esports in 9th on 12. Then WSC in 10th on 10 points. Everyone has scored points this season. And looking at those standings, of course, Mr. Indigo, Paradox Sim Racing out on top. Now, of course, F7R, Outplayed Racing, though, hot on their heels and behind.
Yeah, mate. So I was just too distracted about the lobby setters, so I tried to focus on what you were saying and the lobby setters too. But yeah, Paradox Racing just 1 point ahead of Outplayed Racing. Outplayed Racing on a very close contention as well. So it's been very interesting because I think both of them had a really good race as well. They were different strategies towards the end, one in the softs and one in the mediums. But it turns out, due to the removed penalty, Stefano won the Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely so. People are asking, by the way, in the Discord, if it is a restart, if grid penalties, if it is illegal blocking around here in Japan, which it was in PSGL where we had a restart, we should have another restart. I think it's the fairest thing for all of the teams. If you want to kick up a fuss in the chat, I don't mind. But that is how we play things here in EML. Of course, we did that a couple of weeks ago for, I think it was round 1 of the championship, where we had the illegal blocking. We restarted. It's a quick restart, so illegal blocking will be a restart, and it is a fair opportunity for everyone, even though it is going to take away some negating fact potentially for some teams depending in qualifying. Of course, having a looking at the drivers' standings as well. Coming into tonight, drivers' standings, of course, we haven't actually looked into over the first 2 rounds. Aurelian, though, leading the way on 47 points. He actually comes in for F7R tonight, so he looks to try and build on his lead. Chazoo Tom in second on 38, with NLR Urpec in third on 32. Now part, of course, of F7R. Stefano in fourth on 30 with his race win last week. Blackhawks in fifth on 28, and Devon in sixth on 27. Luca Cart in seventh on 25. OP Nando in eighth on 20, along with Flopman, also on the same amount of points on 20. And then YCN, who had a 5-second penalty last week, indeed, getting there in 10th position on 16 points. But Aurelian currently leading the drivers' standings as well, which is nice to see. Let's have a look then at the lineup for tonight. There are a couple of changes to the driver lineup, one in particular being for X Esports, which we'll come on to in a second. But Nicolope and Papine are in the Red Bull for ET8. Rent and Jensen, Ren's of course a new signing for Shazoo, in for the Mercedes, Kian and Aurelian representing F7R in the McLaren, FER Jerome and Sasha representing the Aston Martin for FBR, GL Gilles and GL Maxime in for the Alpines, and Nando and Daddlepad in for OP in the Ferrari. Rastas and Hugo, same lineup again for WSC in there in the AlphaTauris. Then Keki and Justin in for NLR. That is a spelling mistake on Justin's name. Andreas was going to be racing, but it is now the ex-esports man of Vessel VK, who is now into Vessel VK. Replaces him alongside the former NLR man of Felix 1. Very interesting lineup there for ex-esports tonight. And Caginio and Paul, who we were due to get in the lobby. Not sure where he's gone off to. So we are one down for PGS. It's Caginio. That is the man that is going to be taking PGS forward, certainly for the first part of qualifying. But speaking of qualifying, let us get straight into it. The first cars are coming out on track. Renz is one of the first to come out on track, and it's so good to see, Jamie, from last week. No multiplayer cars, which I think is very easy on the viewer's eye, as well as our eye as well.
Yeah, it is indeed. Only 1 week multiplayer cars, then we can switch back to the actual car. So it's easy for us commentators to identify who's in whose car, because it did get muddled up a little bit, especially commentators as well, with like a few drivers having the similar liveries as well. So it's nice to see them in their actual cars, and we'll see then how these drivers get along this circuit, because Felix 1 is the first one out there, like you said, used to be an LLR, but now he's an X-Racing. I raced against him as well, so he's very quick. He's Felix 1. Raced against a few others like Jeroen Visser, O'Raylan, Mohammed, Jensen also. Yeah, a lot of these drivers are quite quick here. Felix 1 will be the first man to cross the line to start his first line lap, and I'll take you away with it then. So as he approaches the final 2 corners, are very important to get a good exit through here, because it sets you up for an overtake then. So we'll spin out the exit of the final corner as we head down the main straight. Only 1 DRS zone around here, and that's very crucial as well as we head down this main straight. Then approaching speeds about 330 kilometers an hour, braking, well, you want to go flat out in the first corner, then brake in the second corner, then carrying through 5th gear using the outside curve, then into these corners here, the S section, carrying the speed, threading the needle through here. Very important to use the curves as well for extra rotation. It's very easy to go offline as well, mess up through these corners as they're very quick. Into Dunlop, flat out 6th gear, do not go on the curb, because we get dragged off the track and hit the wall like we saw Marcus Ericsson do. And here we are, flick it through the 50-meter board, then nice commitment, nice speed as we head through the second Degner, then using the curb on the outside, but not too much of it as we head. Where Daniel Kvyat crashed back in 2015 when he hit the grass and spun out and crashed. And here we are then out of the exit of the hairpin, then decent exit, one of Kamui Kobayashi's favourite overtaking place there, as he actually got 3rd on the podium as we head towards now Spoon. Didn't really take a tight line through there. This is where we saw Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel had their crash, taking a lot of curb through the first part of Spoon, and also carrying the speed through it as well to have the use all the track on the exit too, to try and gain the maximum amount of timing he can in that Alfa Romeo. So as we approach the end of this middle sector, it's going to be a 10.5 for Felix 1. 130R should be flat out, except for the race with the heavy fuel. Then heading into these heavy 2 braking zones, important to go off all the speed there. Not really committed to the first apex, but hit well the second apex. We head out of the final 2 corners with DRS enabled. The benchmark for all these drivers is a 27.0.
Yeah, 27-0, pretty much on par with what we saw in Academy a little bit earlier on in terms of the first run there from Felix. Jensen, I think, is next up as well, coming through the Casio Triangle section, actually coming through 130R, 110.3 in that middle sector. Lella Bell there saying in the chat, saying evening, James. Not saying evening to Jamie, which is unfortunate, so can see who's the favourite commentator out of us two, at least. Jensen coming down in towards the Casio Triangle through the final corner on the mental line, and he goes quickest for the 26.9. Good lap there from the Chizou man. Hugo there going 3rd as well. Renz, of course, new signing to Team Chizou, as much so about a day ago, I think he signed for them. Renz on the run toward the line, goes quickest, 26.3, and that is a huge lap from Renz, former Parnell Racing man, showing why he means business, and showing why Team Chizou really do mean to try and get him to be one of the top drivers on PlayStation.
That's incredible that time. As a first banker too, managed to throw down the hammer immediately and put that car into P1. Daddlepad coming towards the final 2 quarters for OP as he crosses the line now at 26.6 for him, and he puts his car into P2 just ahead of Papine in the Red Bull then on his outing. O'Raylan has gone up into 2nd place with a 26.3 there, as Nando OP goes quicker with a 25.9. Wow, that is incredible. Wasn't expecting that in this early stage of qualifying.
Are you serious? Are you actually serious with me? 25.9 already, and we have not even reached the first 4 minutes of qualifying. That is a huge lap from the OP man. Don't know what he's been fed for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but put it this way, I want something that he's on, because Nando out on top, 6 minutes gone in the session. Ren's in second, Aurelian in third. I thought Aurelian and Ren's lap, to be fair, were absolutely lightning quick. Nando, though, was just put it out of the ballpark. They do love their baseball here in Japan. Nando has literally hit a home run with that lap, 25.9, 4 turns clear of Ren's, and I'm going to go as far to say now that is going to be very hard to beat, and that's probably our pole lap right there.
Yeah, it's gonna be super hard to beat for all these drivers then. So Nando's really scared these drivers with his lap time. So I wonder if anybody else could catch up to him. The rest of them with the 26s, he's the only man in the 25. So I wonder what's happened to Kian down at Spoon. He looks like he's had a moment. He was on a flying lap, but had to bail out of it.
Yeah, he's out of field. I think he even validated in his first run. I've just caught on board with him there, coming through Spoon. He's there down in 17th position. Is the man sitting there. Cagino, by the way, going 4th, 7,000ths of a second behind Aurelian. So good lap there by the German in behind on the Frenchman. Currently only 500ths of a second sitting between 2nd and 4th right now. Volokongan saying go Shazoo in the chat. Midway, very impressed with Nando's lap, and Harley saying evening as well from the NLR team, losing one of their best drivers actually in Urpec. Real shame to see him go. One of their rivals, of course, picking them up in F7R, and F7R currently sitting in top of the standings by a point over Outplayed Racing coming into tonight. Nando, though, out on top from Renz in second, Aurelian there in third, 4/10 of a second as the chasm of a gap between Nando and Renz. Such a good lap from him. We've got FER Yaron on a lap as well. He's burning very high fuel load at this stage in the Aston Martins. Of course, FER with their real good results from Stefano last week. Sasha, of course, represented them last week as well. Did a fantastic job. FER looking to try and get in there. They're only 5 points off top, and even at this early stage, it comes to show what teams are coming out on top and who's really the ones to watch out for, I think, in this championship.
Yeah, indeed as well. And FVR had a really great race last week with Stefano showing great pace, and the lunges he did at turn number 9 at Australia on the outside was incredible as well. So let's hope FVR can keep up with this pace as well as they try and close in on the championship. But yeah, you've even visited then the FVR man formerly was in Relentless all those times ago, but now he is in FVR, and let's see what he could do then on his first lap. Both Aston Martins has a set lap time. We did see Keane out there, but Keane had a problem, like you said, invalidating the first lap and went off a Spoon on his second lap. So not looking good for Keane so far, not able to throw down a marker as he would have wanted to be in sync with the rest of them. And we're just waiting for those 4 drivers as well as Justin in P16. The Austrian hasn't set a lap time either. So we've got a majority of drivers then coming out of the pit lane to start their second runs as Jeroen, Sacha and the rest of them start trying to get their first lap. So let's see what FER could do. And here he is coming towards the final 2 corners then is the Dutchman as he sets his lap now, and let's see if he can get a lap time on the board on his first proper run.
Yeah, out of the Casio triangle on the run down in towards turn number 1. We'll turn the timing tower off on the left-hand side because nobody is currently on a lap for Yaron as he comes down in toward the right-hander of turn number 1. Famous to where Senna and Prost made contact back in 1989 around here. Yaron coming through the right-hander of turn 2, in towards the Senna S's of turns 3, 4 as we cascade through the S section at 5. Bit of an uphill camber now in towards the right-hander of turn number 6, and then in toward the Dunlop curve of turn number 7, passing the Japan Eye on the right-hand side as we now come through the left-hander of this first sector. 31 flat through Degner 1, flicks the right-hand side curve, flicks the left-hand side curve, doesn't run invalid, but a very much a half spin there from the Dutchman of Jeroen. Nearly a bit of contact there on the right-hand side of him with 2 cars going out of the way. Jeroen now comes through the left-hander of the hairpin, looking very good so far on his lap, I've got to say, is the FER man. It's not going to be on Nando's sort of level. I'll put it this way, if it's a 25.3, I'll be very, very happy indeed with this lap as he now comes in toward the left-hander of Spoon Curves, through the left-hander of turns 13 and 14, and then down in towards the fastest section of the 130R, as we have got a little bit of slipstreaming going on with Sasha ahead of him. This is to try and gain time currently on the lap. That's why it been why Nando was 4:10.3 of everyone else. 110 flat though in the middle sector, not as good as what Nando was setting, and he's got a bit of traffic in front of him, and that's one of the Alpha Tauris of WSC who got in the way there. Yaron now coming through the final corner, hard done by I think with that lap. He gained all of that time just to be ruined on the run to the line to 26.4. He will feel, though, that he has lost time as a result of that impeding on track from the WSC man, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was Rastas, who was just starting a lap.
Yeah, it was. Rastas was preparing his lap time, not expecting the Aston Martin to be on the scene very quickly then as he was carrying all that speed from 130R down to the final 2 corners. So a penalty may be incoming for the next race for the WSC man, and Yeah, Jeroen's lap time was compromised, but still, P5 is a great lap time despite that little mistake. He had a bit of a twitch coming out of the second deck that did Jeroen Visser, so there's plenty of time to be found in hand for the Dutchman in P5, but that was a really good lap time to throw, as majority of drivers then are currently on their flying laps then, so it'll be very interesting to see who out there can improve. Kikino can't. Kikino, sorry, because he's just a validator coming out of the first Degner, so that's his lap time ruined already. And we've seen a few other validations out there too. I think Dado Pad is coming around the final two corners, is the OP man. So let's see what lap time he can set. Is he going to be near his teammate, I wonder, as the DRS is enabled? It's a 26.0. It's an OP1 too. And what a great lap time as his teammate right behind him starts a flying lap with an Alpine coming on the scene very quickly, but not improving.
Yeah, Daddlepad going quickest into seconds. A good lap there from him. Felix is just on up on a lap as well, but he's 7 seconds down in the first sector. Keki on lap as well. If you're wondering why I actually went to the interval screen there, it's because I was just checking in terms of the settings that Parc Ferme is off, apparently. Parc Ferme is on, according to my screen anyways. 26.1 from Sasha. He goes third with a good lap there from him. Renz as well on the run to the line. He's a 10th and a half down in that middle sector. On the run to the line, he's 1600ths down on his lap, and actually Aurelian splits the OP pair, so Aurelian goes second. Good lap there from him from the F7R, but again, OP against F7R, going to be one to watch out for, certainly in this session. It is Nando out on top, it's Aurelian in second, Daddlepad there in third. Don't worry there for the PR man in the chat saying, never mind, but it's all fine. It is just me checking the intermission screen, it is literally just that. Parc Ferme is on. Mark, apparently, from ET8, the manager for ET8, has reported that Parc Ferme is off. So I wonder if we've got a little bit of a glitch in the lobby. If we can get proof before the session ends, and that is the case, that'll be brilliant, because that means we can restart without really needing illegal blocking or anything like that, and we can just restart as a result of that and just get everything back into order. But do we really need a restart, though, if Parc Ferme is actually on but off? It's weird.
I have no idea, but OP
Oh,
Nando
wow.
continues to try again. It's a 25.8, so it extends and raises the bar once again. Aurelian slots into P2, so he splits both OPs there, as Sasha is in P4 for FER then. So it's looking great so far from those guys, as Jill just crossed the line there in the Alpine to go P5. Pepine's out there, we've got Jensen out there too, so just trying to find a driver to see what lap times they're on. We've got Justin, he's not on a lap time either. Parc Ferme is on, but F1 reports about ETA that it's off. So where do I go find that, by the way? Because obviously it does say Parc Ferme.
Yeah, it's in settings, and it's in on weekend structure. I think it's the one just after weekend structure in terms of the settings. Definitely I saw Parc Ferme rules were on my screen. If they're off on your screen, then I don't know what to do.
These say weekend structure.
Let's have a look. I'll double check. We're going intermission just for like 10 seconds, just while I check this through. It's in settings. It is on rules and flags under that one. Parc Ferme rules are on for me.
Yeah, it's on. Parc Ferme is on.
But apparently, according to ET8 anyways, it is being reported as off. So, yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. We'll get more in that in terms of the admins. Hopefully they are available, and hopefully they can better inform us in terms of the action. The action going on out on track, by the way, at this stage. Vessel there in 18th position on a lap currently. 48% of EOS left on his lap, 27.2. Currently, he is setting on his runs, the X Esports man, down in 18th. 0.3 of a second off Mohammed. Not the sort of outcome that X Esports would be wanting. Felix won as well, down in 14th. That's a bit of a shocker, considering his form in TML last season. That is a big shock, so maybe that transition from NLR to X Esports maybe not working as according to plan as what he might be.
Maybe it could be a track thing as well. Maybe it's not his strongest track on the circuit, so that could explain why he's down there in P14. Also, Mohammed as well. We all know Mohammed is a very quick driver, so he's down in P17 unfortunately. So hopefully for him, he can get a lap together. But majority of drivers then are in the pit lane as we're waiting for majority of them to go out there to do their final laps. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in qualified. This is going to be tantalizing close. Can anybody try and beat Nando's time? He's at a 25.0. It only mans the 25.2. So it's going to be extraordinary to see which one of these guys could just slip in there. But OP, F7R, 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be a very credible race between those two again.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm just asking in the F1 chat, are others reporting it in terms of Parc Ferme being off? If it is, it takes away something in terms of the qualifying session at least, but we're so far into the qualifying session, it's not really that noticeable, I've got to be honest. Nando out on top, Aureli in second, Daddlepad in third. We are going through in the admin, certainly, about that right now. Might just be waffling, is what Nathan has said to us. Might just well be. If it isn't, it's something we can certainly report on. It might be just a glitch within the game. It is something that we will take seriously, though, considering we had an illegal blocking penalty. Of course, 2 weeks ago, we didn't have any in Australia last week, so it is something to go back on. Maxime is just done up on his run for G-League, and speaking of illegal blockings, I spoke too soon. Jensen has got a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Drivers normally go slow through the final sector, and that, I think, is coming into the Casio Triangle, where he might have picked that up. And again, he's picked up another penalty. That, in fact, though, was coming into Spoon Curve, where he is. Maxime, though, still on this lap. G-League looking good, as Jensen's been disqualified for illegal blocking, with a 31-1 for Maxime in the first sector. That is ridiculous from Jensen. That is surely a restart.
I don't know, because he disqualified himself, if that makes sense. But I don't know. It's like, how are you supposed to determine where he's going to be? Because everybody's going to improve on the laps, assuming they are. So if they do, where would Jensen actually be? But we have to compare his last lap time to other people's lap time. So we're going to do a lot of maths in this one.
Yeah, I'm just informing the admins that Jensen's just been DSQ'd from the session, which is something I've never really seen. Maxime, by the way, is getting the full effect from GL on this run. And well, the 110.3, it's going to be nowhere near Nando, Aureli and Daddlepad. It might not even be an improvement from the Frenchman, as now comes into all the right-handers of the Casio Triangle at 16, then through the left-hander now at 17, riding the curve very nicely indeed. Now comes down the hill through 18. I don't think he's going to improve on this lap. He is not indeed. Maxing to the line, 7/10 down on that run. Nando, though, out on top. Aureli in there in second. Aureli's through the first sector. Daddlepad's through the final corner, however. 500s up on the run to the line. And he doesn't actually improve. 2,000th of a second down on his run. Nando just starting up in behind. But Aurelian, something to go by from OP. I would be very worried. Aurelian set purple first sector.
Yeah, he is then. So I just watched Sasha cross the line. It's a 26.0 for him. That's mighty close between Aurelian, Daddlepad and Sasha. There's P2, P3 and P4. It's unbelievably close. What's Kian doing? He's coming through the first sector right now. So on board with Aurelian then. Can he keep that 10th up as he makes his way now into Spoon? Pressure is high. Got to maintain the pressure. That's a lovely entry and exit there. Carrying the speed, the momentum, using all the track there. No signs of the car oversteering either. So can he continue this in his middle sector? What's it going to be this lap time? 1/10 up again, and he needs to find a bit more time in that last sector to try and snatch pole away from OP Nando, who's made a mistake into the hairpin. Now it's all eyes on Aurelian. The car, the back of the car stepping up. I think he took too much curve on the entry towards the first part of it. He crossed the line now. Oh.
And that is out of pure frustration. He knew that. I knew that. That mistake was very costly coming out of Casio Triangle. What's his teammate doing? He's not actually improving on a lap. He's in Ballard. Ren's there going 6th position, so good lap from him. Keki in 7th, GL in 8th. GL, of course, formerly of F1 Esports Challenges back in 2020 and 2021. Feels like an age ago that he was in, but GL now on the run toward the line. Can he go up 2nd position? Big lap there from the former F1 Esports Challenges man. He's still got a little bit of blood left in him. GL there in 2nd. Fantastic. That Vessel as well is on the run to the line, but he's 3/10 down. He's made a mistake through the Casio Triangle as well. But it's Nando there out on top. It's GL in 2nd. It's Aureli in there in 3rd. I have informed the admins of a potential restart. It looks as if, though, we are going to... I don't think they're asking to restart qualifying. No, it will not be a restart qualifying. It will just be a normal race start. Ron is demanding a restart, and Nathan has just confirmed that we are getting a lobby restart, which is good for us.
Yeah, just keeping a close eye on the chat there. So what's going to happen? Now Jensen's disqualified himself. Do I have to compare his last lap to his last lap to others? Let's just say. I actually don't know what to do because, yeah.
Jensen's...
So he said he should be P11.
He had a 0.372. I'll confirm this on the stream while we run through everything else that has happened. Nando out on top. GL in 2nd, Aurelian in 3rd. I didn't see Aurelian actually pick up a 5-second penalty there. So again, fairness in play. Aurelian would be down in 8th. Because of this restart, he's going to be there in 3rd, so a good lap time from him nonetheless. Daddlepad there in 4th, though, from Sasha in 5th, Kian in 6th, with Rent in 7th, Keki in 8th, Papine there in 9th, Genio ran off the top 10, there's Justin in 11th, Yaron in 12th, Rastas in 13th, Felix 1 in 14th, Mohammed there in 15th, and Maxime, Hugo, Vessel, and Jensen, who got disqualified from that session. He, of course, though, is going to be starting on a .371, which would put him actually P11. So that is pretty much spot on in terms of what we've been fed in terms of information. While we get the lobby restarted and everything else, you are going to sit in absolute silence for 30 seconds. We're going to play our sponsor advert, of course, from Next Level Racing. We'll let you know as well who won the giveaway, which I'm going to be informed, I'm sure, in the next few minutes or so. But sit tight, buckle up. We're going to get that lobby restart going, and we'll be back in about 30 seconds. At last, a little bit of life has come back to the stream. We are back here for EML. It is round number 3 of the championship, and we are taking through the action, of course, here from what is actually a kind of wet start to this race. It's just been an absolute punt, by the way, into the wall on my screen. We've got Sasha and Felix 1 currently still going out on track. They just need to retire at this stage. They are retiring right now. We are in the same lobby. We'll get this restart going very soon indeed. But what we can do, though, while we wait for everyone to retire, is have a look again at what happened last week in terms of the racing. It is Paradox Sim Racing, of course, out on top now. F7R from Outplayed Racing in second on 74. PSR, by the way, on 75. FER in third on 70. Then Team Jazoo in fourth on 53. NLR in fifth on 36. Then ET8 in sixth on 34. Then G League in 7th on 30, PGS Sim Racing in on 21, and X Esports in 9th on 12, and then WSC Esports in 10th on 10 points. We are still waiting for the FER man of Sasha to come in. Hopefully he's going to bottle it into the wall coming into the pits. No, he's still continuing on, maybe to get a little bit of tyre life going on. but he is wasting our time. He's wasting your guys' time at home, and he's wasting everyone else's time, including his own team's time as well.
Yeah, I think you've even written. He needs to tell his teammate to retire because, like you said, he's wasting a lot of time, and I'm sweating here trying to figure out how to do this lobby setup, and he's going out for laps.
There we go. He's retired finally. He is finally retired. But we're about to get, hopefully, going very soon. We will get the lobby up. We are going to be communicating between ourselves on the stream. So if we are a little bit off piste in terms of what we're delivering, it is because of that. But we are going to be seeing some really good action out on track for sure. By the way, Sasha did win this race for the Aston Martin. Might be a sign of things to come for FER. Not that anybody really does care that FER Sasha has just won the Japanese Grand Prix, but you never know, it might happen. He's qualified, of course, 4th on the grid, so there'll be one to watch out for indeed. But we will get going very soon. While we have a look at the team standings, of course, looking at those team standings, of course, Mr. Jamie, Paradox Sim Racing out on top now, of course, F7R, outplayed only a point behind. Given that qualifying session and Nando's dominance in that qualifying session, outplayed are going to try and outplay the opposition and certainly outplay F7R.
Yeah, it's a nice choice of words there, like they did at the Australian Grand Prix as well, when both OP drivers one went on the softs and the other went on the mediums, because I think the one that went on the softs actually saved the tyres because he crashed out of qualifying. If Luca Carr crashed out of qualifying, so therefore he had a spare set of softs, whereas his teammate didn't at the time, so he had to go on the mediums. But they both finished in 2nd and 3rd. They didn't catch him. They won initially on track, but Stefano's penalty got removed, so they're looking to go one better and try and win, unlike in Australia. They thought, oh, Stefano's got a 3-second tire penalty. You can go on a brand new set of tyres and try and catch him all that way. But yeah, he didn't get challenged at all during the race. Stefano was looking at the mirrors there to see if they would catch up. But they got in his penalty window, but the penalty got removed anyway, so we didn't have to worry about that one.
Yeah, definitely so. Of course, Stefano taking that race win, it was a fantastic result, I've got to say, from them out on track. What I am going to do, by the way, is because I've been given express permission to do this, I'm going to get a new graphic up on the stream. So apologies if it lags because I'm getting things together. But you will see in just a little bit in terms of an announcement, which we are going to make live on stream. While we've got that little bit of time, actually, and while Jamie can set up the lobby sort out the lobby settings and sort out the grid, what I can do is, because there was a giveaway. Did I mention there was a giveaway at the start of the stream? I don't think I did. But what we can do is bring you the winner of the giveaway. Of course, it was for 2 karting sessions. This was promoted, of course, for round number 1 as well. What you had to do to enter this, of course, this giveaway was like and retweet on EML. Don't do it now because it's closed and the winner is already going to be announced. But this is for 2 karting sessions, so you can take a friend or book 2 single sessions, and it's booked at your local karting track. It's with, of course, our sponsors, Rising Lions, the team, of course, that's been doing well in EML F2 this season, and, of course, absolute goats of EML back in the past. And you had to like and retweet and tag 3 friends in the comment section. Well, if you were one of the lucky 14 people that actually managed to enter the giveaway, well done to you. And well done to our winner, who I think might be currently racing right now. It is the IRT man of Seeb who took the giveaway for the karting session. So congratulations, IRT Seeb. Those karting sessions are yours. That is for, you can either take your friend, take a family member, whatever you want to do, or that is for 2 sessions for yourself. If you want to be a greedy so-and-so and take it for yourself, you can do that as well. But it is booked at your local karting track and everything is done for that. So Steve, congratulations on the giveaway, and there'll be more giveaways to come as the season goes on.
Yeah, I won't be talking much because I've got to sort that. I don't want to mess anything up. I want to make sure these drivers don't complain at me or anybody else complains at me.
It is fine. It is fine. What we can do, though, is have a look through the track map. And we're going to run this through for a little while. It is the Japanese Grand Prix, of course, here tonight. 5.8 kilometres and then 3.6 mile, 18 turns awaiting our drivers, of course, out on track with one DRS running down the start finish straight in towards the right-hander of turn number 1. Of course, scenes where we have seen Senna and Prost famously crash into each other in 1989 for the championship. That was then decided with Ayrton Senna getting the win. Of because on countback, he took the most points, therefore took the championship with that. Prost crashing him out, though. However, very, very unfair, I've got to say. It might have been the other way around. I can't remember. I wasn't even born then. But with this circuit, the only figure eight circuit on the F1 calendar as well, there's going to be a lot of potential overtaking opportunities, a lot of potential action as the first race goes on. But what we will see, hopefully, is some really good racing out on track, and hopefully we'll get to that in just a second. Do you need, by the way, anything in terms of the grid or in terms of the lobby settings, in terms of checking them through?
I should be fine. There's a lot to go on. There's a lot to keep an eye on.
That's why you got me as well. You've got me as well. I will, because we've got on the track map screen anyways, I can check through the lobby settings at the minute. It is going to be a cloudy start to the race, followed by intermediates, followed by cloudy weather. So it is going to be pretty accurate. What we were seeing, though, and what I saw certainly, and I was saying this off stream, is the weather was raining at the start of the race. So it brings about that accuracy, I think, within the Formula One games in terms of the weather. Whether or not, pardon the pun there, whether or not, of course, the weather is actually replicated fairly. If it is replicated fairly, the only thing that we can do is have it overcast, wet, overcast. That's what we got sent through in terms of a screenshot, and that's all we can reflect it off. No lobby is ever going to be the same. No lobby is ever going to be 100% perfect, but that is to replicate the on-track the on-track conditions that we were seeing. So there might not be rain at the start of the race in this lobby, but in the previous one, there was. But again, it's all about accuracy. It's all about getting that weather sorted. And I wish they were more accurate in terms of the weather forecast, because it will make things a hell of a lot of interest in terms of the racing out on track as well. But hopefully we will bring you the lobby and the race very soon indeed. What we are going to do, though, is take on a slight intermission break. We will come back to you in a couple of minutes' time, just while we've sorted everything else out. So we'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes. Trolls, there we go. Welcome back, everyone, to EML League 1, EML F1 even. We are here tonight for round number 3 of the championship, and I can delightfully say that we are going to get the racing very much underway very soon indeed. And that's because we were checking through the lobby settings and everything. I've read them out, made sure everything is according to plan. Park Ferme is still on as well, so should be no complaints in this race. But you never know. If Codemasters wants to throw a banner in the works, it is out of our control. But what we can do, of course, is have a look through the team standings coming into tonight, as well as the drivers. We already mentioned this graphic a little bit earlier on, but F7R leading the way on 75 points, with Outplayed Racing in second on 74. FBR in third on 70, then Team Chazoo in fourth on 53, NLR in fifth on 36, ET8 in sixth on 34, G League in seventh on 30, PGS Sim Racing in eighth on 21, X Esports in ninth on 12, and then WSC in 10th on 10 points. And of course, Jamie, coming into tonight, OP looking to try and outplay the field once again, outplay potentially F7R in terms of their racing. 1 point off them, gonna be interesting to see with Nando's qualifying how we can capitalise on that.
Yeah, it's been very close. Both OP boys are up there too, so they can help each other, and we'll see how the strategy unfolds as well. So I think it should be the usual strategy, like mediums to hards. So hards to mediums, sorry, the other way around. Unless people farther down the field would rather go on the mediums to try and gain those positions. I don't think the soft compound tires will be in play, but anything could happen. We saw people go on the soft compound tires back at Australia, so we'll see what happens. The Japanese Grand Prix can bring out safety cars too, so we won't be surprised to see any safety cars around here. That could change the whole trajectory of the race as well, and we'll see when the safety car comes out too. So we're just waiting for all the players to apply their setups, which is very important, because restarts our lobby, some people might be excited to press that X button, and it's very frustrating when you don't apply a setup, because you're running with a pre-race setup which is not good at all. You can't get the turning, you don't have the straight line speed, you have nothing really other than your own driving skills. But yeah, we're just waiting for every single driver to do their thing and apply the setups, get the fuel ready, and we can start the race very shortly.
Yeah, we should be good to go very soon indeed. The conditions, by the way, out on track. It is not raining at the start of the race, so it is, again, this consistency in between the weather in terms of approximate or perfect. We cannot get everything 100%, so it is going to be different start to the race. It was raining, however, with the intermediate conditions now due, it is going to be here for around 10 or 15 minutes within the race. That's what we can guarantee you. It will get wet track, and then potentially we will see an interesting race towards the end. Whether or not it dries up before then is a different thing, but the conditions they're out on track, very overcast start to this race, but in terms of the setups, hopefully everyone does remember them. We are going to get the drivers to ready up very soon indeed. I'm not sure if you have to tell them to ready up or if they will do it themselves. Hopefully it's the latter rather than the former, but what we can as well say is we are looking forward to covering the action here in Japan. It's going to be very interesting. Hopefully it is all clean in terms of the race start as well. Safety car, of course, is going to be very important around here, as well as tyre management, as well as ERS management as well, especially down the long straight for this race. But we are going to get very much underway soon. Of course, no formation up, so we are going to get straight into things when everything goes. Floatman wishing good luck to everyone. And yes, good luck to everyone out on track indeed, and good luck to everyone watching, because if you've got the popcorn ready, well done. If you haven't, get it quickly.
Yeah, it is, mate. I should have known it was going to be raining this race too, because I was the one that set the lobby up for the rain to come midway through. The rain started coming in the first lobby around about now, so
it
the
is.
rain
It's raining
should
now.
be coming very shortly. Is it?
It's raining now.
It is raining. It is raining in real life, but I can't see on the screen if it's raining or not.
It is right. It's definitely raining. I've got my TV screen to the left-hand side of me, and it is definitely raining. Might just see the drops of rain coming down through the pit lane. It is raining out on track. So talk about symmetry in terms of the weather. I was absolutely befuddling the weather and wanting more approximate weather. There we go. And here we go. 5 red lights about to go out in what is very treacherous conditions to start off the race here in Japan. And it is lights and away we go, and Nando gets a very good start. GL Gilles alongside as Aurelian will try and get into the slipstream as well, but they run one by one in towards turn number 1, and Nando leads from Gilles in second. Aurelian there in third. Keen up the inside line of Daddlepad. Daddlepad on that set of soft compound tyres down to 5th early on, those tyres not being warmed up whatsoever. Kean there looking through to try and get his teammate as well through the S section, but Kean there in 4th. Everyone is clean through, which is really good to see. Wessel there in the back of the field along with Hugo Maxime towards the back end, but Nando leading 7/10 clear of GL Gilles in second, Aurelien there in third, and already you can see, in terms of the compound of tyres, set of softs, set of mediums on for the majority of the guys. Set of softs meaning people have been told the rain is coming soon. There's a bit of contact in the background. That's Mohammed, I think, sent around maybe with contact with Maxime in the background. There's a little bit of contact as well coming through the hairpin. The 2x2. There's a coasting car inside of each other there. I think that might have been Jensen and Cagino if I'm not mistaken. But GL Gilles on the back of Aurelien. And Aurelien now through and he's into second. GL Gilles in third. Great move that was down the inside line on the McLaren. And in the end, the Ferrari at Daddlepad struggling early on as the Haas of Cagino again runs wide coming through Spoon Curve.
The reason why Kokino's run wide because he hit the back of somebody. I believe that was Red Bull or Papine. So that's why he's understaying off the track and lost his end plate too for good measure. So an early pit stop is required. But however, Aurelien got the jump ahead of Gilles there, which was very important because yeah, I saw that in the final two corners of Ferrari versus the Aston Martin. But yeah, Gilles had massive wheel spin, and now he's under huge pressure from Kian. He got bogged down at the start, did Gilles, but maintained second place. As you can see, he's under pressure. Kian in the slipstream of Aurelien. We go side by side into one, where he has the inside line as he carries the speed through turn two. There's still wheel to wheel. Kian with those soft compound tyres should have the edge, which he does, and moves up into P3. That's a great move indeed by Kian. It's an F7R. P2 and P3 for both of them. It's just a matter of when the rain comes, because you can see soft, medium, splitting the strategies up. When will the rain come? If it comes early, that'll benefit the soft runners. If it comes later, like what, lap 11 or 12, maybe that'll benefit the medium runners, as the softs will be dead at that point in time.
Put it this way, it was raining in the pit lane. Oh, Sasha all out of shape coming through Degner 1 and 2 as I ride on board with them there. It was raining in the pit lane. The rain has stopped now out on track. So I'm not sure if it's a weird glitch or if it's just potentially the weather turning for the better rather than for the worse. You're wrong down the inside line of Cagino as well. Cagino must have damage on that car. Right side end plate damage if it is. Rasta's now side by side with him for WSC. The rain is just falling gently, I think. I can't really see. I'm right against my camera screen. My TV screen right here, and I can't see any rain on my screen, so potentially that the rain has now left the vicinity. In fact, though, coming down 130R, it is raining, because I can see it visibly on board with the Aston Martin. It is very, very strange early on. Nando, though, leads the way. Aurelien there in second, Kian there in third, GL there in fourth. Very good start to this race. There was contact further down the field. Mohammed and Vessel, I think, got into that sort of contact towards the back end of the field. They came into the pit lane at the end of lap 1, but the Japanese fans now going side by side and now witnessing side by side action between Papine and Rennes. Parnell Racing, the former Parnell Racing man, of course, of Rennes, now part of Team Jizu. Papine, of course, formerly of NLR, now an ET8, and the ET8 man does not come out on top of that one for now. Rennes currently in P8, but the medium compounded tyres, Jamie, are now going to be hitting their tyre life window, which is going to be good for the mediums, bad for the softs.
Yeah, mate, indeed. On the first lap, by the way, I was watching Papine. He tried to make moves on Rennes, but Rennes had him covered. He went up the inside of the hairpin, Maxime and Kikino. I don't think Kikino wants to pit, because the rain starts to come. So obviously you don't want to make another stop on the dries and make another stop on the inters. You might as well stick it out there and try and go on the inters if the rain impacts the circuit enough to merit those tyres. So good strategy call there from Kikino not to lose a lot of time. Plus, with the rain coming out, you never know if safety cars or anything like that could come out as well, as Maxime and Felix won't continue their fight out of the hairpin too as they continue to scrap away for P15. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting then to see when the pit stops start happening at early stage. I know the weather because I had to moderate it myself, so I know what's going to happen when this rain hits and afterwards, so I kind of predict, because these guys will go off into the pit lane and the inters. What have you seen?
Maxime had a huge moment coming out of Spoon Curve. He went on the curb on the right-hand side, then flicked the car left, then flicked the car right, nearly lost the car again. The rain is coming down now, a lot heavier than what it was in the pit lane. But Maxime, how on earth he's recovered that car, I do not know. The softs are not working, mediums are not working. I would not be surprised if somebody decides to pit. As soon as I say that, Felix Swan is into the pit lane. He is recognising that the tyres are now going off. Those softs are not working. There's contact further up, though. Daddlepad and Keki, I think that was. Or was it Keki and Sasha?
It was, I didn't see that part. They went side by side, but it was actually Papine and Jensen. Jensen tried to go up the inside, but understeered into Papine. He half slid the car, half swiped him, but he kept it on the track. Luckily, even in these conditions, the greasy conditions, he kept it the car. He was just sliding through Tier 1 and Tier 2, just Tokyo drifting around here in Japan, but obviously it's not in Tokyo. But anyways, yeah, the first man in the pit lane is Felix One, and let's see if that's the right call. I think I saw the DRS disabled. I'm not quite sure if I saw that or not, but we'll prepare his pace.
Yeah, it was Coutinho, I think, picking up a 3-second penalty, which is what you might have seen further down the field, down in
Yeah.
16th position. That damage, of course, with the PGS man, the sole PGS man out on track, he's got to try and maximise every opportunity. He's behind Maxime, so he's going to try and maximise that full potential. But, as there's a yellow flag, and that is Vessel that is round, I think. Or is that Felix 1? It is Vessel round, coming through the right-hander, or the left-hander of Dunlop curve, so that is unfortunate for him. Down in 19th, Esports are not having a great day at the office whatsoever, but Nando there leading the way onto lap 5 out of 27 in what is very dank conditions. The rain not really affecting the track surface, though. The leaders are not coming into the pit lane just yet. F7R certainly not thinking about that. They are thinking about the switcheroo, though, because Kian flies past Aurelian down the straight, and that is job done. He is through and he's into second position, and that was needed, I think, because Aurelian was struggling on his tyres. Kian now through and he's into second. His father in the chat a little bit earlier on as well, putting a wave icon. Hopefully he's waving now at the back end of Aurelian, and now his son is through and he's into second.
Yeah, his father will be happy about that one. Now he's into P2, and he's trying to close the gap down. Does Kian believe he has the pace on Nando there to try and get himself a DRS? It's quite difficult, but Orvain, it looks like he's left in the clutches of Jill, and Jill's on the medium compound tyres. I remember him struggling early stages of the race too, when he had massive wheel spin, especially on the first and second phase. But it looks like he's all over the back of him. Orvain looks like he's struggling to come out of corner. He had a bit of a slide on a second deck now. But as we head into the hairpin, you can see covering the entire line. It definitely looks wet out there now for sure. You can see the wet patches of the track start to develop. The racing line has disappeared. Kian's in 1 second, but it won't matter much because DRS will be disabled shortly, and also they'll be in the pit lane. Will they dive the pit lane at the end of the lap? Has Felix one gone a bit too early, burned out his inters in the early stage? So we're about to find out if these guys dive the pit lane.
I personally think, if I was in the F7R camp, I'd think about splitting the strategies. However, as I've just realised, telemetry and lap data are disabled. There goes Gilles up the inside line in toward 130R. Job done even before he reaches the corner. But look at the wet patches coming through 130R. That indicates to me drivers have got to pit in. That is not bad from Aurelian's perspective, because he can gap a little bit, but he's got Daddlepad all over the back of him. What do they decide to do as Kian makes a huge mistake coming out through the final corner? Cars into the pit lane, though. There's Gilles, Keki, and Aurelian into the pit lane along with Renz, Papine. Everyone pretty much coming in. They're splitting the strategies, though. OP have decided to stay with both drivers on the same lap. Not a bad call, I've got to say, because Daddlepad can gap to Sasha. Sasha's tyres will be working better, though, than the soft runners, as Maxime picks up a penalty for spinning into the pit lane. Coutinho also continuing on. He's feeling that it's not into just yet. But it's Nando leading, Kian in second, Daddlepad in third. But that is a risky call for Outplayed Racing to have both of their drivers staying out and to have Sasha and a set of mediums actually catching them.
You know what? I thought one of them would dive the pit lane at least, because Daddlepad in P3 saw a bunch of cars in the pit lane, seen his teammates stay out there. So I thought he would have dived the pit lane, or at least one of them indeed. But interestingly, it was actually Aurelian who pitted first rather than Kian, because the man ahead of his teammate gets the preferred choice. But it seems like Aurelian's gone for it. I think this is the perfect time now to pit, because the track is definitely wet now. So surely the guys who stayed out there have definitely lost a huge bunch of time. So they're going to be in the pit lane at the end of this lap.
Yeah, definitely so. Rastaz all over the back of Jeroen as well. Jeroen normally doesn't like these conditions. I've got to be fair to the Aston Martin man. They're in 12th position. Has excelled though in these conditions in the past. Not really a fan of conditions around here though. In Japan, I think League of Europe, I recall it back in season 6, I think it was. He was on that set of inters, didn't really work. However, all the OP guys now going to split their strategy, or both of them going to double stack into the pit lane. Nando was in. Kian's in, and they're double stacking because Daddlepad is also into the pit lane. He's gone straight into the back of Kian. What the hell was that? Daddlepad into the back of Kian. He must have damage on that car as well, surely. If that was a glitcher and a half, I do not know. He sped into the pit lane. How's he not got damage from that? That is absolutely befuddling. That is unbelievable. I've never witnessed that before. Nando leads the way. Sasha in second. Daddlepad in third. It's Kian, though, the one that's got the damage, and that's why he's down in 9th position. Absolutely unbelievable. And if I was F7R right now, I'd be absolutely fuming. Red-faced. That is unacceptable from Daddlepad. OP have just got away with murder there.
Yeah, he did lose a bit of end play, did Daddlepad, but he didn't change it because I don't think he had the chance to change it as he was already in the pit lane. So looks like looks like Keane wasn't there. It just didn't exist for him. Then all of a sudden, Keane gets a tap. But the main thing is now, Jill, by pitting one lap earlier, is now in the lead of the race. That was so tight into turn one between Jill and Nando, and Jill just got the edge. You can see that the background Keke had a massive slide out of Degner 2. Degner 2, sorry. But the lap before, we saw Keane there had a massive slide when he said that one lap later at the final corner. So the guys who pitted one lap later have definitely cost themselves, especially Dadopad and Keane down to P13, lost a huge bunch of time, and DRS has finally been disabled then as the advantage has been turned off in that rear wing. Obviously, it's not safe enough for DRS to be enabled in the wet. We have seen it before, I remember in real life, that the DRS, I think in Turkey, we've seen it open before in the wet conditions. Maybe because it's not too wet and it's just damp, but still the intermediates were needed that day because the dries weren't good enough when Sebastian Vettel pitted onto the medium, but it did work out for him in the end. So Jill has the track position. It is raining out there, so without the DRS, could he be in a great position to defend from Nando? Has Nando got the pure pace? Because it's so difficult to follow each other in the wet conditions itself around here in Suzuka, as Rastas has a 3-second tap penalty to his name. Allred is being pressured by Keke behind. Keke, will he force a lunge? Oh, it's so tight. No. But he has to bail out of it because there was no space. So Keke stays behind for the time being in P4. As Allred in there went to the right, and the door was firmly shut in his face.
Yeah, firmly shut in his face indeed. I'll just rewind that back, by the way, in terms of the incident. I'm not sure if Keane's actually broken a lot earlier coming into the pit lane than what was necessary. Dadopad speed into the back of him. It's... I don't know. I really do not know with that. It's a... Whatever it is has happened. I hope the stewards are going to investigate that fairly and properly, because Dadopad, from my first recognition of that, it looked like he literally got away with murder, and I'll literally say that on stream as Sasha's ran wide, coming through deck the one. There was a bit of contact as well. I think Keane may be having desync issues. That's what I was going to come on to in my second point, because Justin there has just made contact with him, and Keane has now lost the position to Justin. So Justin there down in 12th, Keane there in 13th. Not sure if the door was slammed shut, but looking at his interval timings, his interval times are moving fine, so he's not desynced on our end. Might just be a case of him being desynced on other people's ends. So Dadopad obviously getting away with that. But whatever that was, stewards are going to have to look in that for sure. My first impression of that was Dadopad deserves a penalty. Second impression might be different though after the stream, and that's what I will hold back on. Nando though right on the back of Gil for the race lead. The Frenchman under pressure from the Portuguese man. And that comes in toward the final couple of corners through the Castle Triangle. Papine has had a spin as well further down the field, but Nando all of a sudden on the outside line in towards turn 1. GLG will make his life a living hell in towards turn number 1, though the Alpine still at the inside line. Battle of the late breakers as we come through. Bit of contact, bit of squirming, still around the outside from Nando. Remarkable stuff. Brilliant stuff by the Portuguese man. That is what OP can do at their best. But ignore what happened with Dadopad and Keane. OP's made up for that. Nando Thurneys into the race lead. GLG, those tyres just going off slightly. But what a battle that was.
Yeah, great indeed. None of them willing to yield as you expect, as Jill had to bail out, because the outside line into turn number 1 is always the preferred line. When we see Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg back in 2014, when he took the lead of the race off the German driver fighting for the championship. And also, I think Max Verstappen did the same thing on Charles Leclerc in the 2022 race as well. So OP Nando there had to get the move done, got track position, and Keane then has got ahead of Justin for P11. Looks like Justin made a mistake, because you don't really see overtakes in Degner 2, so he missed or went off the track there. We've seen plenty of drivers go off the track again too. Lewis Hamilton, Jaime Alpasquari, Hickey Kovalainen, Sebastian Buemi, you name it, all those drivers have been off there, and it's such an easy place to drop it because you carry a lot of speed. It's so easy to have a snap of oversteer, and Wessel unfortunately has retired and left the session.
Yeah, that's in the pit lane as well, so that's unfortunate for the ex-esports man. Struggled. He didn't really have much practice, I think, coming into tonight, to be fair to him. He was a late replacement for Andreas, so unfortunately for him, as Keke is all out of shape, getting caught on the AstroTurf as well, coming through the right-hander there of the left-hander of 130R. Got caught on the inside, sleeping policeman like Tony Hawk style on a skateboard, coming across that curve, just literally got stuck with the floor. Keke now has lost, what, 4, 5, 6 tenths per second as that yellow flag. Maxime top 15 as OBS has decided to die on me. It has reconnected. Apologies if you didn't hear that. OBS is now reconnected. Don't know what happened there. Might have just been my connection. But what I was saying was a rundown of the field. Nando, Gil, Radian, Keke, Renz, then Dadopad, Sasha, your own Rastas, and Jensen top 10. Might not be for long though, because Jensen looks the inside line into the hairpin. Doesn't get the job done. But he's right there or thereabouts. Kian, Justin, Hugo, Papaya, Maxime top 15, and then it's Coutinho, Mohamed, and Felix won the top 18 drivers. Apologies about that. I turned away for a second, and then OBS decided to die on me, but we are back.
Yeah, I am back too. I was wondering if that happened or not, because you glitched a bit when you stopped talking, so I thought I lost connection. But it seems like I wasn't talking to fit in there, so apologies about that too on my end. But despite the mistake from Keke in 130R, he's actually closing up. Also, Aurelian's closed up on Jill, so Jill will be under massive pressure from the two behind. Aurelian and Kian were pounding him all the way through. Let's see if he gets a decent exit to the final corner. Rastas is overtaking Jeroen Visser before the final two corners. Mercedes goes deep into the final two corners. We got Aurelian then right to the back of Jill. There you can see the gap he's pulled. Nando 4.4, and here we are. What a repeat again into turn number 1. And let's see who's laid the brakes there. Jill claiming the racing line and stays there in P2 for the time being. And not great for Aurelian. He wants to get past Jill to try and catch up to Nando, but Nando's got a big lead up there with a 4.5 second gap. Dadopad, one of the drivers who pitted late, looks like his inters started to come alive, putting pressure on Renz, because those inters will be much better now for him at this stage of the race as well. While others had to do 1 or 2 laps in the dry. Well, crossover point, but Dadopad's tyres will be the better out of all of them. So let's see if he can make a resurgence back up there where he was before the pit stops to happen as well. Kian putting pressure on Jensen there, and let's see if he can make his way up to the field with great pace too, but unfortunately losing a lot of track position after that pit stop. But here we are then into the hairpin, too far back, and Kian then not too far back for him on this occasion. Also, second Degner too, so not really conventional overtaking places, Degner too, but usually we see it in the hairpin where drivers overtake, not Perez this year because he forgot how to overtake there. But unlike Kamui Kobayashi back in 2012 when he overtook a lot of drivers there to claim his first podium at the Japanese Grand Prix. And here we are then on this short straight. As you can see, Keke getting out of shape slightly at the exit of Spoon there as we head into 130R. Another great place as well. Alonso Raikkonen here back in 2005 as we head through 130R. It'll be a lift-off corner through here in the wet, but it's dry, it's flat out. And here we are then into the final 2 corners. We go, what about, oh, Keke got so close to the back of all, it almost tapped him. Maybe it did, but I'm not quite sure. I was keeping an eye on Dadopad there in P6 to see if it was close enough. But here we are on the straight then. I don't think Aurelian is close enough unless he uses that battery to try and draw himself in, but no, he stays behind for the time being. Dadopad has got past Renz. He's up to P5 now, ahead of the Mercedes driver. Can start to focus on putting the battle there as Keke tapped him once again. Jeroen has overtaken Ratsaz for P9. And up goes the Aston Martin. And not really his strong point, you say, in the wet and the conditions. He did win here in a league race before at the Japanese Grand Prix. That was in the dry though.
Yeah, it was in the dry indeed. Jeroen through, and he's into 8th position, making Rastas look like Rastamouse, to be honest, there, with Kian in 10th, right on the back of... Sorry, I had to get that one out. It's been bugging me for the night, but Kian on the back of Rastas for 9th and 10th position. Nando, though, by the way, Nick saying it completely in the chat, completely what everyone is thinking. What the hell is he doing 5.7 seconds out in front? Has this guy got grid hacks from Thomas Ronhars? Kian now looks at the inside line, in towards the hairpin. Kian to the inside line on Rastas, falls with the out move. Beautiful move for Kian to the inside line. Rastas forced out wide, in for a mistake. Job done for Kian. He's through and he's into 9th. Now Aurelian back on the back of Gilles not really struggling, in terms of this race. I wonder if Nando has actually got maybe a half setup on, half for wet, half for dries, and Gilles got a fully dry setup on, and that's why the gap is so big. 6 seconds now, the gap between them both. Aurelian there in 3rd, Keke there in 4th. Aurelian though catches the inside curb, now under pressure from Keke. Keke on the back of him, makes a bit of a slight love tap there in toward the right-hander of the Casio triangle. Fernando there leading the way. We're halfway through now pretty much in this race. The rain's still not relenting out on track. It will though, however, before the end of the race. Nando there leading from Gilles 2nd, Aurelian there in 3rd, Keke there in 4th. There is a yellow flag, and that is Maxime round coming out of Spoon curve, and that is Keke again to the inside on of Aurelian. Not getting the job done through there, my friend.
Yeah, so it looks like Gio's ERS management has been quite sufficient, and it's helping him throughout the straight as well. So as long as his ERS management is great, as long as he can get decent exits out of those final 2 heavy traction zones, it's pivotal for him to do that, because he'll carry all the speed on the straight, not allowing Aurelian to get close. So Aurelian's ERS is great as well, not knowing the ERS now of the guy ahead of him, because the rain lights are on, so you can't really tell if someone's derating or not unless you have the overspeed on, of course. But if Gio can get decent exits out of those 2 corners, try and do what he's been doing, not allowing O'Reilly to get close as well. Keke once again in that second deck, they're just seeming to lose it right there. But as we head now, it's the hairpin. Keke sliding as he relocks the brakes. We saw Carlos Sainz crash there back in 2015 in the Toro Rosso when he got on the curb and smashed it in the wall. But yeah, once again, then not able to get close enough to make a lunge into the hairpin. Also, Dadopad is being drawn into the battle as well. The gap between him and Keke is about 7 tenths, so he's in this little train going on so far from from Jill all the way down to Sasha in P7 with Yvonne Bizzer momentarily picking up that 3-second tablet in Fields before he's got Kian right at the back of him. So it's a great drive from Kian, being outside the top 10 during the pit stops, now putting pressure on the Dutchman ahead of him. Here's Aurelian now. What will he do? What's his strategy play? What can he do really? Because the first few moves into the first corner hasn't really gone off, paid well for him. So will he try and get closer to 130R, try and make a lunge into the final two corners? It's a bit risky though, because you lose a lot of time. Plus with Keke right behind, Gilles defending like crazy, using that ERS to his advantage. As you can see, Aurelian is not able to get closer, but Keke with his striking distance too. So Aurelian having to attack and defend at the same time, thinking about one overtake and defending another, with Keke all over the back of him. Eleanor man doing a great job so far in that Williams, and it looks like she's definitely a contender for the podium tonight. So let's see if we can keep this pace. But obviously, I know the weather settings, so it's going to be drier towards the later stage of this race. ETA is unknown, so I'm not quite sure when it will dry, but it should do for sure.
Yeah, it should do for sure. Keke, by the way, all out of shape, coming through just before the Dunlop curve there, through the right-hand return number 6. Very out of shape, as well as Aurelian Needy dipping the wheel there into the grass and gravel on the outside line, and now very vulnerable to Keke on the exit. Now running up towards the hairpin we come. They go side by side through turn 9, into the left-hand turn number 10, and Aurelian the Frenchman slides all the way through. Sasha and Renz are side by side coming through the section as well, and that is a move, I think, from the Mercedes going around the outside on Sasha. Renz is through on Sasha. Great move there from the former Parnell Racing Man, now part of Team Jazoo. Ren's through and he's into 6th position. Sasha's going to try and come back at him. Frenchman's got no response, and it is a game, set, and match for now. For Ren's, at least they're in 6th position, looking very good. Kian's got amazing pace as well, down in 9th position, catching your own on the back of him. Clearly run a better straight line speed, and that's what I was going to come on to in terms of setups. Keke running so much better straight line speed than the guys ahead of him. So this is bringing Keke completely into play in terms of this race. What he does want to make up for, though, is a bit of a slide there on the rear right, but Kian getting the job done on your own into the Casio Triangle. That's the job done for him. He's into 8th, and the F7R man has now got Sasha ahead of him, Ren's ahead of him, and then he's with his foe for tonight. Keke to the inside line doesn't get the job done, and Aurelian might get the move again to the inside line on turn number 2. He's trying to force him to try and give up position in terms of a move. Sasha and Renz, though, are side by side in towards turns 3 and 4, but it's Renz that currently holds position. What I was saying there, Kian's got good pace. F7R man is making up for lost time, but in two position gains time, he's going to be right on the back of his old foe and daddle pad. So that's going to be very interesting, as Renz, all out of shape for Dunlop, is passed by Sasha.
Oh, Keke's out of shape in deck the 1. Now, Daddle pass coming through. Keke slides, he spins. Is he in the wall? No, he keeps on the track then. So
Good
deck
recovery.
the 1, unfortunately, just lost the car there like Aurelian last time. But this time it's Keke. He's dropped himself into P9 as he tried to apply the pressure. But unfortunately there has cost him dearly. And the pressure for Aurelian has been released. But Jill has pulled a 1-second gap over Aurelian. Daddlepad is back into P4 then. So this is looking great for both OPs, as they both could be on course for a podium in terms of Daddlepad gaining those positions back. So NLR watching their drivers, and unfortunately made that slight mistake. It's so easy to do when you try and apply so much pressure ahead of you, using all that tire wear. You can see Keke, every time he tried to go into a braking zone, he was sliding through the corners, and Daddlepad made his way through. But Keke did a great job to save the car, not lose his wing. He's still in this race. He's not, obviously he's lost a lot of positions, but still close behind us. We've got the time. Safety car, Daddlepad has just made it in the pit lane. So has, who was that? Jill. Jill's in the pit lane too. So where's the safety car? Oh, it's okay because Thunder's gone past anyway.
And Kian has stayed out. That's the man I was on board with. Kian has stayed out. Very interesting call for F7R. Now they're going to maximise the result. 2nd and 3rd position. Are they thinking that the rain is not going to stop for them to actually come out on track and be 2nd and 3rd? Very interesting call. It was a late call. There was drivers coming into the pit lane ahead well after the safety car got deployed out on track. So, Kian there in 3rd. GL, Daddlepad all into the pit lane. Rain stops now. This could be one of the most fascinating ends to this race, what I think we will ever have, potentially, in Japan. But Kian there in third, very interesting call to stay out there. I can only think they've been told, certainly from Kian's perspective at least, stay out, the rain is not going to stop before the end of the race. Well, lap 16 out of 27, if the rain was going to stop, it'll be in about 5 or 6 laps time. If the rain was to stop then we get about 2 laps, 3 laps potentially of dry running towards the end of the race because of that overcast conditions. But judging by the rain intensity out on track, that rain is actually looking like it's getting heavier rather than clearing up. So I wonder if this is now going to be Kian and F7R in an absolute brilliant position. Or if the rain stops, which, to be honest, it sort of look like it is now on board with Kian. But F7R have either pulled one or two things here. They've either pulled the blinder, or they've pulled the trump card, and they're going to end themselves up in jail.
So what I think O'Reilly and Nando should do now is go into the pit lane because they're not behind the safety car, so they've got the Delta. So the Delta will continue going until they catch up. So Nando can go in the pit lane. So can O'Reilly. Kia, he might get swallowed up by a few cars back where he was, but he's got to pit, I think, because on all the tyres on a wetter track, it's not great at all. So he's got to pit, which he is. So both McLaren's double stacking. You don't want to take that risk there and be swallowed up and get eaten alive by the rest of the drivers on fresher winters. So that's the case there, as everybody else is on a brand new set of winters. Kian, luckily for him, did not lose a lot of time behind O'Reilly then. So he gave a few more car lengths, slowed down a little bit to allow the team to service O'Reilly, and Kian can get in there without losing any time. So where is Jill? Jill has rejoined ahead of O'Reilly, so it hasn't worked for O'Reilly whatsoever. He's back behind Jill, so he won't be happy about that one. As that part is through. Satcher's through, and what about the Mercedes of Rennes? Yes, he is. So Kian is down to P7 on a fresher Inter. So let's see if he can continue his pace like he was going in the first stint on the Inters.
Yeah, he's rejoined in exactly the same place he was in before the safety car came out. So Kian has not lost time, he hasn't gained time either, which is probably unfortunate for him, but he's on fresher tyres, so that is going to be good towards the end of the race. But again, we are not speaking about, well, we are speaking about the weather conditions. The rain, on my screen, it looks like it is intensifying slightly. It is getting slightly heavier towards the end of this race. However, the rain is forecast to stop before the end. Don't know when, don't know where, but it is going to stop at some point in this race. And if it stops, that means these guys are going to have to troop in for a set of dry compounded tyres. And judging by Jeroen's sideways action coming out of Degner 2 there, Jeroen not happy with these conditions. The rain looks like it's on a dry line, basically on the racing line. The rain is still intensifying though as the race continues on. On lap 17 out of 27, I'm going to make a prediction that the rain is going to stop on lap 23. Therefore, I'm going to say everyone should stay out on a set of inters until the end of the race, because I personally think this track is not going to dry before the end. If it was to stop in the next couple of laps, say lap 19, lap 20 for example, and it was to stop, and the clouds conditions are beginning to ease slightly, so there might just be that lift up in the cloud, the track will take a lot longer to dry than what it would do in sunny conditions. So, I'm going to make a bold prediction on my end, and they're normally quite wrong, these predictions that I make. I'm going to say these drivers are going to be on inters to the end of the race, which is not on the script.
I'm going to go opposite you, and I'm going to say they're going to be on the dry compound tyres then, because I know the weather because I set it up, so I know it's going to be dry towards the end. But maybe that's the case if the rain stops. That's another thing. But if it dries up, that's also another problem as well, because they don't tend to dry up that easily. So maybe the rain stops at lap 24, and we don't have the dry compound tyres. They have to go around on the inters for 3 more laps and survive. But it's all down to when the rain stops and if it could dry quicker. Back to lap 14, by the way, where we saw O'Reilly go off the track at Degner 1. Luckily, he didn't pick up a penalty, so luckily he didn't have any warnings beforehand. That was a heart-in-mouth moment because Keke almost snuck around the outside, but he defended brilliantly in the hairpin to keep him at bay. Then a lap later, Keke unfortunately does the same thing. By the way, Keke tried to move into turn number 1 like on lap 15 like he did a few laps ago. It was the exact same scenario where O'Reilly just closed the door, didn't allow Keke through. Then further on the lap, Keke unfortunately made that mistake and allowed that up pad through as well. So now with the safety car bunching things up, Could this help him bring him back into play, not lose a lot of time as well? Will we see Nando get challenged? Bearing in mind he had a lot of good pace as well, so we might do the same thing he did in that instant and just pull away. But the guys have fresher tyres. It's going to be very interesting, and let's see if Kian can make up lost ground. Also, Keke as well. It's not over for those drivers yet. It's going to be an incredible race as well between those guys.
And EC8, by the way, have pitted in both of their drivers, which I think further backs my point up by saying that the rain is going to stay out until towards the end of the race, because Pina Mohammed would not do that if there was dry conditions coming. They would have stayed out on a set of older intermediate compound tyres. They've came in, they're on a fresh set, they're in 16th and 17th position respectively, but the only thing I can think of is the rain is going to continue on right up until the end of the race. Probably it'll go dry final lap of the race. And Papaya and Mohammed are on fresher tyres out of everyone else in the field. So, again, backs up my point. Doesn't back your point up, I've got to say, in terms of the weather. But Papaya and Mohammed, them coming in, for me, certainly, it says the rain is going to stay out. They've been told by their Jeff or by their Mark or whatever it is these days that the rain is probably 10 minutes away from ending, 10 minutes away from this lap. It looks like Mohammed is actually staying back, not to go another lap potentially in terms of the safety car. However, he hasn't managed that because the safety car is in this lap, and there's contact between Gil and Nando underneath the safety car restart already. Gets away with it. Very slight contact. I saw that from the wide camera angle. Gil into the back of Nando. Luckily, no damage. It was very much a slight tap. And Nando now gets back underway on the throttle, coming out of the Casio Triangle. And on the run toward the line is Felix Swan and Cagino. About a huge moment in behind. It's like a Magello sort of style start in behind. Of Redding and Daddlepad that were side by side. OP against F7R. Like last week in Australia. A side by side through turn 1 and 2. Daddlepad's not getting the job done there. And Sasha's thinking about all the way around the outside. Turn number 2 doesn't get the job done. Nando leads Gil in second, running there in third. Yaron has decided to come in for a full set of wet compounded tyres. Whatever you've set the wet weather to, Jamie, it is not going to script.
Well, it's not very wet. It's on wet. It's overcast, wet, overcast. So it should be drying up at this stage, but it's not doing it on this occasion. But yeah, there was contact, Magello type style with Valtteri Bottas backed up the pack. Nothing illegal what Bottas did, but others thought they were racing. Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Latifi, Grosjean. No, Grosjean actually avoided. But here we are. It's the hairpin reeling around the outside. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it on that occasion. Kian tried to go down the inside of 2 on Rennes, but also couldn't do it on that occasion. But I mean, it's so close. What will he do? He wants to dispose the Alpine so we can catch up to Nando if he can. Here's O'Reilly. Into smooth we go. It's going to be so risky to do that move, but he backs out of it. I think that was a hard mouth moment for all of them there. Kian, Gil just determining what O'Reilly was going to do there, but he's smart. He backed out of it, knowing that it's very risky indeed. A lot of consequences in that move where we saw Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen make contact in the drive. Further behind, I can see somebody go side by side. That's Justin, who just backed off there. He stays behind. But what about into the final 2 corners now? He just stays behind. But you can see him sliding through the corners is Gil in the final 2 corners. Can O'Reilly get a decent exit? He's been stuck behind the Alpine for majority of that race, but not on this occasion. The Alpine and Gil made a really great strategy call, by the way. Rennes versus Kian into the straight. Looks like Kian's got more straight line speed, and he overtakes Mercedes with ease before turn number 1. So he gets that done immediately. Up into P6 he goes behind Sasha. Sasha tried to go around the outside in turn 2 on the last lap. Got pushed out wide by Daddlepad. Fair enough because he had the racing line, but might have picked himself up a warning on the way too. So we're very careful not to pick up any more warnings. But yeah, Gil, that was a fantastic call to come in one lap earlier than the rest of them. Get that undercut, and ever since then he's been playing defense mode from all the way when the rain started on the inters. So that's very important as well to get track position, because I know if you're not quick enough than the guys behind, you can still defend, because it's so difficult to overtake in the rain here with the dirty air as well. You're fighting for traction constantly at the heavy traction zones, and you can save up the ERS too for good measure because you're not on the throttle most of the time. You can see Sasha going deep into the hairpin there. Will it open up the door for Kian? No, because he gets a decent exit out of the hairpin anyway. So it's a great strategy call from Gilles coming one lap earlier, puts him into P2, but he's had to do a mighty lot of defending this race, Kian, to Gilles to keep that position in P2.
Yeah, I'm surprised Aurelian has not got through, by the way, on the back of Gilles. Gilles is doing a fantastic job there in second and in third position. Aurelian there, the rain's still falling out on track. It's getting slightly easier coming towards 130R, but Aurelian's now going to say, you know what? I'm going to try and get the job done. I've got so much more straight line speed. I've got to make this now. It's boom or bust for Aurelian to the outside line. Gilles, though, defends the experienced man from F1 Esports Challengers. against an up-and-coming star from F1 Esports Challengers this season in Aurelian, and Aurelian once again tries to get the underneath. Of course, two F1 Esports Challengers guys who ran 2 years in a row, Aurelian and Gil, side by side on the run down towards turn number 1. Looks the outside line, Aurelian might have the traction on the back of Gil. Gil goes deep in towards turn number 2, but again, gets the job done, and the rain has stopped! The rain has stopped! Out on track, it has literally gone from absolutely teeming down through 130R to stopping on my screen. What on earth is going on with this weather? I do not know. But the rain has stopped now out on track. Nando leads, Gil in second, Aurelian in third. And with the rain stopping on lap 21, that means we could see everyone into the pit lane for dry running towards the end of the race. This race, if you thought it wasn't any more spicy, it's just got a hell of a lot more spicier now.
We got more action to come. Aurelian up the inside.
Never gonna work.
And he's almost gonna spin. It wasn't gonna work. It was like a Perez situation. There's more contact as well. Sasha up into P4. And look at that, Dano pad is up into P3, so Aurelian's lost a huge bunch of time there, the places as well in the process, and now Sacha is razzed the back of Dano pad 2, so OP, a double podium. That was a costly mistake there for Aurelian. He tried to go to the inside, it was like a boundary botter situation, there was no room at all. And Gio remains in P2, gets out unscathed and doesn't spin, but that was so close for both of them spinning there. Aurelian's behind his teammate, there's Kian there, so it looks like Kian then will be on the charge for a podium. But like you said, it's not raining. It's like, it's just when it dries out. It's not if, it's when, because like it's definitely going to dry out. But how long will it take for the track conditions to dry out? Because it doesn't dry out immediately. You got to wait a few laps, and you got to pit at the right time too, because you can get a massive undercut when you pit at the right time too, like Gio did 1 lap before. What about the Kian in the background there? No, he can't make a move. Will he go deep into the first 2 corners? Will Sasha? But no, he keeps it on the track for the time being there. So it's all about survival in this race too, because going from wet to dry, dry to wet to dry, there's a lot of opportunity to be gained and lost as well. So it's very important to try and keep on the track if you can. And as you can tell there, the rewards from Gil in P2 just defending. He's got a lot more defending to do as Gil in P2 with Dapopad right behind, and also Sasha Kian DRS. I thought he went deep into the first end and he clattered the curb there, but remains on the track. As you can see, DRS is enabled then, so we might see a mad dash in the pit lane. The problem is, both F7R drivers are close together, so I think it's going to be a double stack, because an undercut is powerful and you lose a lot of time, especially on the softs, because the softs will be introduced in this race like it was at the beginning. Bearing in mind though, this is a new lobby, so everybody has a brand new set of softs.
Yeah, this track, by the way, is drawing out so quick. It is drawing out so quick. Nobody will get to the end on a set of inters. If you are committing yourself to your own grave, and I'm literally meaning that in the strongest possible terms in this race right here. Nando leading the way, Gil in second, Daddlepad there in third. OP have got to think about maybe a double stack. F7R as well, double stack. Sasha Nittany into the back of Daddlepad there, but Nando is in. Nando into the pit lane, Gil is in, Daddlepad in, very late into the pit lane that was, Sasha, Kian, Aurelian all into the pit lane, Justin then, everyone is into the pit lane, they're side by side into the pit lane as well, that's Keki and Renz side by side into the pit lane, Renz I think getting ahead of Keki, but everyone is in. Justin and Mohammed are side by side for the race lead down in towards turn number 1 in their own private fight here in the intermediates. But my word, Justin leading the way, Mohammed there in second. Felix won, by the way. It wasn't that set of soft compound tyres. I don't think he's going to feature in this pack coming out of the field. But my word, this race is literally... somebody's just turned off the wet machine to make the track wet. Quite literally, that is what has happened over the last 2 laps or so. Justin leading the way, Mohammed in second. They're being eaten into, though, by these guys in the set of softs. It is not inters. It's a full set of soft compound tyres, and Nando will be through on Justin and Mohammed before the end of this race. And Answer, by the way, saying about that Perez move, it was like Black Box and PSGL PSF1. If you didn't see that race, go and watch it back a little bit later on. Black Box tried that exactly the same move as what Aurelian did, up the inside line, forced Black Box, I think, wide in the end, made then subsequent contact with Aurelian did with Black Box, and that ended up in an incident in PSGL. Very much a carbon copy replica of what happened in PSGL PSF1. Jeroen has however retired in the pit lane. The Aston Martin man out of the race becomes the 3rd retirement out on track. But Justin Mohammed leading the way. Nando, though, already the soft 4 seconds quicker than the inters, and only going to get even quicker.
Yeah, they are. So those two have stayed out, which hasn't worked, unfortunately, in their favours. But yeah, what a mad dash. What we saw, what was it? Hamilton, Alonso, or Hamilton, Vettel side by side in the pit lane at Japan. No, it was China, sorry, back in 2010. I honestly can't remember. Hamilton put his hand up to. I wasn't happy about that one whatsoever, going side
Hey,
by side
Sasha.
in the pit lane as well. Here comes Sasha on Jill. This could be a no. He
Standing
stays behind.
behind.
You can see he's quite low. You can see he's quite low on the EOS. So maybe why he might be staying behind, because if he goes ahead of Sasha, he won't be able to save up battery. Therefore, he'll be exposed in the straight. So this could be tactical moves there for Sasha as he sees his Aston teammate just pull off the side of the road. Givu Vista, unfortunately, retiring from this race. But it's all getting spicy now. The battle for P2 is on. The guys, they are all so quick. Sasha, Kian, Dappelpad, Keke, Renz, Pepine, and Aurelian, who's lost out big time, choose that double stack as well. And luckily for Dappelpad, sorry, he hasn't lost a huge chunk of time to his teammate, because his teammate had a massive lead anyway, so the double stack wouldn't have been as harsh as it was for Aurelian. There wouldn't have been much effect for him, it must be said. So he remains in P5, still in that DRS train, which is most crucial as well. So we're back to our normal situation with the DRS train, but it's a sprint race all the way to the end on these soft compound tyres. It's going to be so interesting. Gilles in a vulnerable position in P2. Bearing in mind, he's got a lot of EOS at his disposal, so he could use that later on. Sasha's just behind to try and save it, but he gained a lot of time. Did the Aston Martin driver. He even jumped Keane in the pit lane too, for good measure, as Keane, and that was very important to be ahead of Aurelian, because when Aurelian made that mistake, Keane got ahead of him, so it could have been the other way around if Aurelian didn't make that mistake. So here we are into the final two corners. Sacha, a light tap on the back of Jill there, luckily not enough to merit a spin, but here we are. What's Sasha going to do? Because he can't afford to stay behind long, because if he does stay behind him, Keane will make a move. He won't hang around there. Here we are, Keane then, side by side with Sasha. They both got loads of speed. You can see him almost 3 abreast. Keane around the outside into one of the That is a double overtake, and Keane is up into P2 for F7R. What a great launch there. Sasha looked like he wasn't going to make a move there on Gio. He looks like he just stayed behind him for the time being. So I thought Gio would get swallowed by both of them, but instead only one of them.
Masterclass move that was from Keane, and I called it about 5 seconds earlier. I said Keane's getting both of them, got the both of them, through and he's into second. Marvellous racing from the F7R man. Jill and Sasha do not know where to turn. Sasha's going to have to look behind though, because Daddlepad is right with him, in towards the hairpin. The OP man not going to risk a dive bomb to the inside line, but that was absolute masterclass move from Keane. That is why he's considered as an upcoming rising star. That's why he got signed to F7R, just for that. F1 Esports Challengers man, of course, Keane. Fantastic move. He's going to be an up-and-coming star, regardless of what happens in this race, regardless of what happens going forward. Utterly, utterly brilliant. And in the end, Sasha was the one, I think, that got blocked off and boxed in. Couldn't get the move done on Gio. But him, in effect, is much quicker than Gio, so he should get the job done as well. But I think it's going to be exactly the same scenario as what we had last lap around into the Castle Triangle. No, it's not. Sasha's into the back. Right, so then plate damage on the car. Daddlepad has a knock-on effect with that as well. Sasha very late on the brakes, right on end plate damage. He's going to have to continue. He's forcing the OP man off track. What on earth is he doing? Is the FDR man. Sasha and Daddlepad, though, side by side, down the straight. They're going to have to fight for points. Daddlepad, though, surely to the inside line. Job done. Not really sure what Sasha was fighting for there. Not sure if he didn't see him. But Daddlepad doing his into fourth. And the man who was going to get the job done, did get the job done. And fairness wins the reward at the end of the day. Daddlepad doing his into fourth. And Sasha, I don't like drivers forcing each other off track, I've got to be honest. I know he's got damage, albeit, and he might blame it on that, but come on, be respectful.
Yeah, indeed, it's Keke. Oh, don't do this. It's not going to end out well if you do this, but it looks like they made it out unscathed, as Keke's still behind in P6. Renz is right there too, so they need to get clear that Aston Martin is his obstacle in the way now for both of them. I thought one of them was going to spin in the first Degner. Papine versus Rastas there in the hairpin, as Papine is ahead of the AlphaTauri driver for the time being. But Keke, he has extra straight line speed due to that loss of wing. So the scenario is...
Russell's coming back at Papine, and there's contact, and that was never going to end well between them both. Again, I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't. The driving standards are just falling down the pan. Gio on the back of Kian, looking to the back of the Castle Triangle, not getting the job done.
Yeah, so this is important. This is the last lap of the race. Jill is still in DRS range of Kian, so he can use this as a defense against Daddlepad, sorry, I got it the wrong way
Here
around.
comes.
But here comes Jill on Kian, up the inside into 1, down the inside, they go side by side into 2. Now Kian trying to stick it on the outside, goes the marbles
Beautiful.
off the track, but off the racing line. Here comes Daddlepad around the outside into turn number 4 we go. He gets past Kian with ease. Kian losing grip on those marbles, make contact, but luckily not in a spin there. So Daddlepad is in the podium after what happened between him and Kian, remember, at the pit lane when when Daddlepad hit the back of Kian. And Kian would not like that whatsoever. He would have wanted the revenge as Sasha has got past Aurelian. Renz has fallen down. What's happened to him?
I don't. Sasha and Renz, I think, have been involved in contact. I think that's what's happened there. Sasha's coming back on track very dangerously in the background. OP and F7R, by the way, their personal battle still ongoing from Australia. Still going to be hard here because Kian's right on the back of Daddlepad again. His straight line speed is phenomenal in a straight line. The OP man's not going to get on the back of Gilles. Gilles going to be, I think, secure for second. Daddlepad in third, Kian in fourth. And look what happened earlier on in the race between these two. And look what could potentially happen again in towards the Casio Triangle, because Kian is absolutely storming now at the back of Daddlepad. Nando's coming into the Casio Triangle to win the race, but Kian on the outside line of Daddlepad, looking to try and get the job done. Not going to get it done. Nando, though, on the men's line, wins for OP, takes the race win. Kian on the back of Daddlepad all the way out the final corner, but Daddlepad does enough. And it's another OP podium. And with that, they're now championship leaders provisionally as well. F7R, Kian, and Aurelian 4th and 5th. They have not done enough in the end. Renz in 6th, Jensen in 7th, Sasha there in 8th, Wasser's there in 9th. Daddlepad potentially going to get a penalty, I was saying there in the chat as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he does. Wouldn't be surprised if many of our drivers get penalties from the driving standards in the final few laps of the race. But what a race that was. In the end, overshadowed, I think, with what was going on track. Nando taking a dominant win out on track. The OP man, fantastic race from him. Gilles in 2nd, Daddlepad in 3rd, Kian there in 4th. We have lost Felix 1, who was spun at the final corner. The Esports man has got going again. He's crashed into the pit wall, I think. Has him. Maxime 15th, by the way, crossed the line. He did cross the line before him, and Felix 1 is in 16th. So that is the only change provisionally in terms of what happened there on track. Mohammed gets driver of the day. What about the in-game fans? Very questionable decision. I think, though, only one man, or potentially two men, deserve it. Kian for one, and the race winner, of course, and Nando for the other. And we will try and see, Nando, if he wants an interview or not. It will be very difficult. If it's anything like last week, it'll take about 10 minutes. But Nando takes the race win out on track. OP 1-3 again. Fantastic, building on their success, provisionally championship leaders, but with Daddlepad potentially getting a penalty and that overhanging them, all to be revealed next week as we go for round 4.
I want to say it's a great drive from Gilles. It was an underrated drive because the man was defending for his life throughout the entirety of the interstint, then the soft stint as well. But he drove brilliantly, used Sacha to his DRS advantage as well, finished in P2. So what a great drive there from Gilles. Looks like he was struggling in the inters with Aurelian and Keke all over the back of him. Looks like he was actually going to lose a podium, but actually maintained P2 as he defended brilliantly against Daddlepad, who had their battle with Sacha as well with that broken wing. And also, it's just an incredible drive from Gilles as well in general. And there could have been plenty of podium contenders. Gilles, Daddlepad, Kian, Aurelian. Renz could be one as well. Sacha, P11, and Keke, who dropped out as P12. So loads of people could have been on the podium to that, but unfortunately hasn't gone their way. Mohammed from P16 to P8, great job from him in ETA. He did stay out there one lap later on the Inters and still finished in P8. So what a great job from him in the Red Bull from Mohammed. A very quick driver indeed. Maybe it's not his strongest track here in Japan, so hopefully Mohammed can come back stronger in the next few races. But yeah, congrats to Nando. Dominant drive throughout the whole entirety of the race. Never looked back, even with the safety car, when his gap got wiped out, he even pulled away. So yeah, respect there for Nando just to have the pace throughout the whole race. Gilles did a great job. Daddlepad, great recovery drive, it must be said. I know a lot of people might not agree, but still, even with that falling down the order as well, making contact, he still came up to finish in P3, but it might belong to Kian due to those post-race penalties.
Yeah, definitely so. It will be very interesting to see what happens, of course, on the back foot. There will be plenty of penalties, I'm sure, coming our way, which means more work for us in terms of comms notes, more work for you guys at home as well, in terms of finding out what those are. Of course, everything will be up to date in Discord, so if you do want to catch it on Discord, you can do that indeed. And, I mean, I'm laughing because we go to Belgium next week, which is a track synonymous with the same levels of driving normally that we see in Japan, in terms of normally good racing, normally a bit aggressive. But Belgium, they ran for the championship in Spa next week. It's going to be an interesting one. Considering the driving standards this week, I think it's better to set the standard high and have a really good driving standard next week rather than let it all come down and let the league's reputation come down as a result, not only for these drivers, for the teams, but also for the league as well. Belgium, though, next week should be an interesting one. I really hope that we do get a good race, though.
Yeah, Belgium is an interesting one. Can produce some decent racing as well. We've seen in the past where we've seen overtakes through Eau Rouge and Radion, Lacombe, also La Source as well. And the final two corners where I think me and you commentated over, and there was a contact in the final two corners, if I remember correctly. I think it wasn't you. I remember Sam Gamer official made contact there with somebody in the final two
Race of
corners, and
Champions.
I think it was, you know.
Race of Champions, yeah, because that was run as a social race, and it was the Race of Champions around Belgium. I did that alongside you, and Sam Gamer, yeah, he did make contact. I think that was when he was back in ETA, which seems like a lifetime ago, but it was only 2 months ago.
Strategies. So yeah, it's great to see all the great racing as well. A bit of controversy in the chat as you expect, but we'll get it all sorted out and see what's actually happened. When the POVs, that's when it all starts to unfold, and we can get a true story to see what happened.
Yeah, plenty of people saying about desync potentially. That's why I second guessed it. That's why I will look back and thought, did he break early, keying into the pit lane, and did Daddlepad actually see him? It's a weird one. It will go down to the stewards, obviously. We have got the calendar upcoming as well. Qatar before the break week, and then Austria, Netherlands, Brazil, Imola, and Las Vegas to round off the season. Las Vegas is going to be interesting. Round 10 of the championship. Hopefully, we might have already wrapped up the championship by then. But what we are going to do is not have any interviews this week. We are going to go offline. We are going to end off the stream here. I really hope you did enjoy the stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. Well done, of course, to Mr. IRTC for winning the giveaway as well. Those karting sessions are his, so he will be, I'm sure, delighted with that. Hopefully, though, we will get to see better racing in Belgium. And the standards surely going to be set very high for that race. But for myself and from Jamie, thank you so much for watching. We will leave you in the capable hands of our sponsors, Next Level Racing. Until then, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.